Hi there, my name is Marius, and this is the first review on my new channel. Obviously, it's my own car, it had to be. It's a Tesla Model 3 from 2019 with almost 68,000 kilometers on the odometer. As I said, this is Model 3, the first generation. It's the dual motor long range variant, which means it has two electric motors, one on the rear axle and one in the front axle. Combined, they produce around 440 horsepower. That translates to around 4.6 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, and the top speed is around 230 kilometers per hour. In terms of the battery, again, being the first generation model, this one has the 78 kilowatts hour brute, and around 73 kilowatts hour net. Considering the age and the mileage of the car, I reckon I got left something around 66 kilowatts hour, which is plenty. The car is pretty efficient, even though it doesn't have a heat pump. In cold climate, cold weather, it uses a PTC heater to heat up the battery and the cabin. So in the past 8 months that I've owned the car, I saw a consumption of I don't know, 250 to about 280 watts per kilometer. That's the highest I saw. It was in the winter. It was cold outside, and I drove on the highway at a higher speed. On the other hand, in spring or in summer, if you're enjoying some country roads, some beer roads, you can see consumption of around 120, maybe 130 watts per kilometer, and that could translate to a range of around 400 kilometers. As for the practicability of the car, being a sedan, it's quite spacious, and also being an electric sedan with an electric platform, the cargo space is quite impressive as well. As you can see here, we have a standard carry-on luggage that you can take with you in a plane, and as I can figure, you can squeeze almost 6 carry-on luggages like this one in here. On the left side, you have some additional space, a pocket for easy access, but not on the right side, because being a dual motor, this one has a subwoofer from the sound system. And underneath the boot floor, there's some additional space where you can store your charging cables and whatever else you don't want to have in your main trunk area. And again, being a Tesla, you also have a front booth, or a frunk as they call it. It's again quite a useful space, quite deep. You can have here as well your charging cables, your everyday stuff that you don't want to rattle in the main booth, in the main compartment. We also have some hooks on this first gen model. So yeah, pretty capable as it is. Now let's check out the space inside the car. On the back seat you have on the back card you have pretty interesting materials. They're quite good quality. It's soft touching, sort of an Alcantara on the door card. It's soft touching here. You have the window command and door closing command with a speaker and some storage space. And inside the car you have some climate unit, actually a climate vent only, but it can be controlled from the main infotainment screen. Underneath you'll find a couple of USB ports, some lights on the ceiling, the glass ceiling goes all the way to the rear of the car, and also here in the back we have an armrest with a couple of cup holders that are adjustable, unlike the ones from the front of the car. So this is the space in the back. As you can see, I'm almost a tiny bit over 1 meter and 80 centimeters in height, and my hair is actually touching the roof, because this one is not the actual roof of the car. It's just a cover, a shade that I use during the summer from my head to the actual roof of the car, the glass pane. I have something like 3 to 4 fingers in size. As for my legs, I have more than 1 palm, maybe 5 to 6 fingers of space for my knees. And as you can see, the front seat, it's almost in line with the B-pillar of the car. But being an electric car, unfortunately, the seat, the bench, it's quite low compared to the floor, and the shape of my legs and my knees, it's not great at the moment. And I don't know, I would be able to drive to go in the car for a short trip like this, but not for a medium or a long trip. No. It is actually something to consider, but with the front seat a bit higher up, you can stretch your legs, and then your knees are in a more natural, comfortable position. So yeah, overall this is the space here in the back. It's quite a comfortable car for its outside dimensions, actually. Moving on to the front passenger. Obviously the door card is pretty similar. You have a bigger area for storing your stuff, and also a twin speaker on the door card. The seats are almost identical, the front seats. They're mirrored, the controls are mirrored, but you have memory seat on the driver's side. You can save your position in your profile in the infotainment screen. It doesn't work obviously for the passenger. Regarding the space inside the car, as you can see, I have plenty of foot space. If I want to stretch out, I could go with the seat a bit in the back, but I don't really need to. I don't feel the need to. It's pretty comfortable. You have on the main area you have a storage space under these covers, quite a large one. You can see in the back we also have a couple of USBs. This one is phone holder, is not a wireless charger like on the newer models. In the back you can see the cup holders that are not by factory, are not adjustable, and also the central armrest, which you can lift and also reveal a pretty large area to store your stuff, with a nice tray that did came from factory. That's pretty much it. We'll continue from the driver's side. So on the driver's side you have the same door card. The only difference are the window controls. The seats are identical, as I said, and mainly the only way to interact with the car is via the main infotainment screen, and using the stalks behind the steering wheel, or the buttons, the rollers from the steering wheel, which can help you to set your driving position regarding the position of the steering wheel or the outside mirrors. As you can see, behind the steering wheel we have just a regular stalk for our lights and wipers, and on the other side that's your gear stock, your direction selector, and also you have to use it for the engaging autopilot. The main infotainment screen, it's also the place where you can see your driving information. While driving, on the left side of the screen you have your current speed, your speed limit underneath the battery indicator. The car, it's interactive. You can use it in parking to open the trunk, to open the charge port, or to lock the car from the inside. But while driving, here you'll see either the park assist if you're going slowly, or if you use autopilot, it's gonna be shown here on this area. Underneath the car you can hide another menu. If we tap it, you can see it's our media controls. If we swipe to the left, we have the driving data. You can switch those two, and on the left side the odometer is fixed over there, and another swipe to the left shows us the tire pressure system. Going more to the right, being the first Model 3, you always have the map shown here, which works flawlessly. It has Google Maps. The traffic actually it's from Google Maps, so I don't really need to use. I don't miss actually using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. On the top side you have a lock to again lock or unlock the car from the inside. Your driving profile, you can switch to some other driver. An icon for sentry mode, but at the moment it's not active because I don't have enough energy in the battery. It has to be over 20%. And at the right side you have SOS button, the current time and the outside temperature. Also, an SOS button can be found up here, right by the light fixture. You have, as I said, the SOS button and the hazard lights. Going back to the main infotainment screen, on the bottom here you have some controls. The first one from the left opens the settings menu. You can configure everything about the car from here. You have the climate area, pretty straightforward, easy to use. The only weird thing is this is the only way to control where the air comes out from the vent, but you also have some interesting features like programming the climate, keep climate on. Again, it's not active right now because I don't have enough juice in the battery, but that feature keeps the climate on while I'm not in the car. If I go to a shop or something and I want to keep the car cooled or warm inside. Underneath you have dog mode, pretty much the same thing, but it shows a message on the screen to let other people know that your dog is inside, but it has climate on. And the further down you'll find camping mode, which can be used to keep climate on for a long period of time. It also shows a video, something like a bonfire after a couple of minutes. Moving to the right side, you have an option to set some favorites over here, some favorite apps. I chose to have my heated seat here. Those two are gonna be mirrored on the right side if there's a passenger in the car. Regarding the apps, you can switch them. Here you have the last apps that I used, and a drawer with all the apps from the car, the games, the toy box, the cinema, where you can watch Netflix or YouTube or whatever else you want to do. The backup camera and the two side cameras from the wheelbarrows are accessible at any speed. That's another interesting fact about Tesla. And they're pretty good quality. You can use them to judge the space around the car, and you can use those cameras as an accessory to the parking sensors that are shown again on the left side of the screen, and they're also showing you the distance in centimeters. That's pretty much it with the inside of the car. Now we are gonna drive it and talk some more about the driving aspects. So we've come to the driving part of the review, and the first thing that I want to mention is the dynamics of the car. Being Tesla, being a dual motor, the power is plentiful. As I said, it has almost 440 horsepower and somewhere around 490 newton meters of torque. So yeah, the performance speaks by itself. Obviously it could be better. It's only a long range variant. It's not the performance model, but it's more than adequate. You can pretty much overtake in an instant. You don't have to plan your moves. So on that regard, I'm quite pleased with the car. But there are some negatives, obviously. Being the first Model 3, the insulation in the car is not really top-notch. You do feel the wind, especially at higher speeds. You feel the tires, the noise coming from the tires, especially on my car, because the tires are a bit old now, and they are not so soft anymore. And all I'm saying, it could be better. Even though it's an electric car, you don't have the noise from the engine. You do feel the noise from the other factors. You will see when we get to the motorway, to the highway, that there's quite a lot of noise in the cabin, at speed at least. If you're only doing city driving or B roads until 70 or 80 kilometers per hour, then you won't really feel a problem with the noise inside the cabin. And again, there's another disadvantage, being the first gen car, and I presume being quite oriented to performance, it has to be this way. I'm talking of course about the suspension. It's not the smoothest riding car. Being on 19-inch wheels, obviously it doesn't help, but on a long trip, on highway, on a bumpy road, especially as we are driving in Romania most of the time with this car, you really feel everything, every imperfection on the road surface, every undulation. You feel it in the cabin, and it gets tiresome after a while. Maybe it's necessary because the car is quite powerful, so you need that grip, you need to be able to put the power down. But for my taste, for my liking, it could have been a bit softer. That was a pothole. You maybe heard it, because you can also hear the suspension working on bigger potholes. Well, pretty much those are the negatives. Let's see now about the positives, the advantages of owning a Model 3 from the first generation. Well, I already talked about the power. I should have mentioned the instant response, the instant acceleration from the electric motors, and also the steering rack, the way the car handles. That's another plus. You really know all the time where the tires are, the front tires. You can point the car exactly the way you want it. It's quite direct, even though it's electronically softened. You can make it harder, but I don't really need to. I've been to a couple of windy roads, and I kept the steering in comfort. I didn't feel the need to switch it to sport. And as I said, it's pretty direct. You can point the car where you want it. Again, being an electric car, it has the center of gravity really, really low in the car, and that gives you extra confidence in putting the power down. We are now going on the highway. You can listen the noise inside the car at 90 kilometers per hour. After the road works, we can try to achieve even the top speed on the highway that here in Romania is around 130 kilometers per hour, and then you'll see the noise level at that speed. Going back to the advantages of the car, I won't talk about the charging speed because that's pretty relative. You really have to tick a lot of boxes to be able to get that top speed of 250 kilowatts per hour. You have to have a warm battery, to have driven enough to let the car heat up the battery if it's not hot enough from the driving. You also have to have quite a low state of charge, again, to be able to hit the top speed from the charger. And actually it doesn't stay up there that much. It starts dropping quite fast after only, I don't know, a couple of minutes of charging. It starts throttling the charging speed, but I suppose that's also because the battery, at least in my car, is not new, is not pretty large now. I don't know. So that could be an advantage, but it's not something that differentiates Tesla anymore, because other manufacturers also can achieve those speeds. And again, the supercharger network was a huge advantage for Tesla, and in a sort of way it still is, because you only need to plug the car and it starts charging quite fast. Actually, the handshake is quite fast, but you don't have to open the app. There's a command on the charger that opens the charging port on the car, and you just plug it in. On other cars you might need to use an app, or even if you go with another electric car to the supercharger, because they are now opened for other electric cars, you still need to open the app and to start the charging process. So that's still an advantage for Teslas. But the main thing that differentiates Tesla, at least now in 2024, it's the app. But I'm gonna make a short break to let you hear the noise in the cabin at 110. We've reached the speed now. And now I'm gonna go for 130. This is it. So that's the noise level at the legally top speed that you can legally drive on the highway in Romania. Anyway, I was talking about the app. When you get the car for the Model Y and Model 3, you get a couple of cards that are your access cards. You have to tap the left B pillar with the card to lock and unlock the car, and again to start the car you sit in obviously in the driver's seat, and you tap the brake pedal and the card, the access card, to the space between the cup holders and the front of the armrest, at least in this first gen Model 3. I'm gonna shut up for a moment again because we are now on a very rough surface. It's quite bumpy. Now we're doing about 50, and you can hear the noise coming inside the car. That's the suspension and the tires. At this speed, obviously, you don't have enough wind noise to hear inside the car, but the tires and the suspension are getting quite loud. Going back to the app, once you configure your Tesla app with your car, well, you really don't need the access card anymore. Maybe as a backup solution in case your phone doesn't have any battery left. But otherwise, you just approach the car, and once your mobile phone connects with the infotainment system in the car via Bluetooth, the car can be unlocked. Once you go away, it locks itself. To start the car, you just press the brake pedal and put it in drive. So that makes the whole experience quite easy, quite I don't know, stress-free. You don't have to carry the car key with you anymore. Well, obviously, if you don't have the access card and there's something wrong with your phone, you can use any phone, just install the app and log into your account, and that phone can become the key of the car. But you do have to configure it, and that's a bit I don't know, difficult, at least for the first time that you try to configure the car with the key on your phone. But anyway, the app. Going back to the app, because it's actually one of the best, if not maybe the best out there. You can control the car remotely. You can lock it and unlock it, or start the car by going through the app. You control the charging, you control the climate control, the steering wheel heater or the heated seats if you have all those options. In your cars you can start also the ventilated seats. You can control the windows. You can see where the car is on the map. You can plan a trip on the app and then have it sent to the car, and it's preloaded once you get inside the car and you start driving. So yeah, I really enjoy using the app. For the most part, I don't know, 80-90% of the time it worked flawlessly. Let's now see a sprint from 60 to the top speed, legal top speed. That's it. Yeah, so as the car, also the app gets regular updates with more and more functions. So I think that's the main differentiator from the other legacy automakers. Some of them already have apps as well, but they're not quite as reliable. They are not so packed with features. I could have mentioned another thing for the Teslas. You can also summon the car, but here in Europe the legislation doesn't really let you use the full potential of the app. You can only be right by the side of the car, and you can have it drive forward or backward, but you cannot really summon the car, I don't know, to the other side of a parking lot like you can do in the United States. That's not legal, at least not for now, here in Romania. So as a conclusion, I'm really impressed with the app, and the whole process again makes the car feel friendly, user friendly. I mean, easy to use, easy to get used to. The assistant systems, again, they are quite good. If you use autopilot, you cannot let it drive by itself. Again, it's not legal in Europe, not for now at least. In some parts of US, I think it's legal. It can drive itself. But here you can use autopilot like an adaptive cruise control that can set the speed also by the road signs, by the speed limits set by the road signs, and also it's keeping you in lane. Again, being in Europe, you do have to keep your hands on the steering wheel and give some feedback from time to time. I don't know, every 10-15 seconds, I guess. But even so, it can help you drive for a long distance without problems, without getting tired or stressed. It works in every weather condition. So again, I'm pleased with those systems. And it's another aspect that makes the car feel really easy to drive and to use. On the first part of the driving review, I should have talked about the brakes as well. You don't really use the brake pedal. Most of the time you can use the regenerative braking, which means that you only have to lift off the accelerator and the car slows down. It's a one pedal driving system. If you lift off in time, the car will stop. It will come to a complete stop. So I guess you only use the brake pedal when you have an emergency, or if you want to slow down from a higher speed, something like that. Those are all factors that can make the car feel really easy to use. You don't really feel the power of the car unless you want to, obviously, but you can drive it quite slow, and at city speeds they have been quite comfortable, the trips that I've made with the car. If you have the stereo on, which on this dual motor variant, it's actually pretty good. It has enough bass, enough treble. You can crank it up and don't really feel any distortions inside the car. And obviously this way you won't feel the noise coming from the tires or any other outside noises. As I was talking about the braking process, I'll now switch to the maintenance part. It's actually quite maintenance free. You don't have oil, you don't have lots of filters that need to be changed. As I had the car for about 8 months now, I only changed the cabin filters, and I'll do so quite often because I have some allergies, so it's gonna help me. But other than that, you don't really have to change the brakes, because again, most of the time you're gonna use the regen. The tires, even though it's quite a heavy car at almost 2 tons, the tires are the original ones from the factory, and they are not over, they are not going to waste actually, but I have to change them because they're old enough now. They have 5 years old. They are 5 years old. But yeah, other than that, there's not much that you can do in order to maintain the car. I did encounter a couple of problems. One of them was actually from the day I bought the car, as it was an used car. It had a problem with sensor that measures the humidity inside the cabin. I had to change that at the dealership, and it was something like 100 euros. But other than that, I didn't really spend any money, because the second problem that I encountered with the car, it's actually a recurring problem, because it keeps popping up, meaning that if you let the car parked, you don't use sentry mode, and you don't check the car often via the app, you don't send commands to the car, it goes into a deep sleep state. That means that the high voltage battery is disconnected, and the systems inside the car can reset themselves. And that's why my second problem, it sort of fixed itself after half an hour of having the car in deep sleep. And more than once, it came up, and it had fixed itself by going in deep sleep. The problem was with one of the cameras. The camera from the B pillar, on my side, on the driver's side, a couple of times had stopped working, and as they are all connected, that meant that I was not able to use sentry mode or the autopilot, because again, it uses all the cameras in order to keep the car centered on the lane, or I don't know, to measure the distance from the car in front, even though this one I think still has a radar, not like the newer cars that only rely on cameras. So yeah, that was a problem. I had made an appointment in the dealership. The total amount was, I don't know, something like 200, maybe 250 euros to change that camera. But as I said, after all, it wasn't necessary. I saw that all the functions were restored after I don't know, maybe half an hour of deep sleep, and I ended up leaving it like that, and cancelled my appointment with the dealership. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I enjoy using the car, especially the remote functions are very useful. I don't have to come to the car and find it hot or cold, depending on the season outside. But yeah, that's the advantage of an electric car, and especially Tesla. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I think we can continue the conversation in the comment section or on other social medias. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll meet again at my future reviews.